Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's play some more Elden Ring, shall we? Picking up where we left off with our guide for complete beginners, and I'm going to leave the Limgrave tunnels. Remember, we left a little marker here saying that when you still need to defeat the boss, but this is the great thing about the game. You can just come back later when you're feeling a little bit more prepared. I want to continue leveling up and upgrading. In fact, I have not leveled up our character at all, so that seems to be something that we want to do. And I'm going to leave this area so that we can indeed teleport out. Right now we can't teleport to a site of grace because we are within the mine. So I'm just going to kind of ride the elevator back up and bail. We have 1,400 runes, which is part of our process, and here we go. Now, can we teleport here? We sure can. I'm going to go back to the church. Over here, the Church of Ella. And we're going to use the blacksmith stone with all of the smithing stones that we picked up to level up our weapon even more. And also, I know I said I wasn't going to do this last time, but I'm going to change the Ash of War to the Stomp on our weapon just to have fun and experiment with it. I think this is something that I personally just need to get better at, which is you can change your Ash of War, so why not just experiment? It's not like it will permanently ruin your weapon. You can always, alter it later. So you can see here that if I level up the broadsword, it will do even more damage, and the scaling is trending upward with the blue from D, and you can't really see when it's going to level up until you actually commit your points. So if I go to broadsword again, right, it's going to take me 4 smithing stones, level 1. I have 11 of those, and 336 runes, so I'm going to strengthen it. And then I can strengthen it one more time to make it even better. It's going to take 6 smithing stones to do this, however. And now, that armament can no longer be powered up. And we used all of our smithing stones. But what that did was, it just made our sword as strong as it can be at this point. The starting sword, we've now leveled it up to +3. And I used a good bit of runes to do that, but that's okay.
Alright, so now that we've upgraded our weapon all the way, using our smithing stones to +3, which is the best we can do at that anvil, let's talk a little bit more about the Ashes of War. So I was kind of reluctant to put the Ashes of War on our sword and change it because of the affinity, but I decided, you know what, let's actually talk about the affinities and show you what we have available right now and change our Ash of War. So, I was mistaken in that. If you come here to the Site of Grace and you go to Ash of War, and let's just select our broadsword +3, we have this Storm Stomp that we acquired before, and, my initial hesitation was because that it was trending dexterity upward for its attribute scaling. And the way attribute scaling works in this game is very simple, which is you're going to pick some key attributes for your character that you're going to be increasing, and you want your weapons to scale with whatever build that you are targeting. So if you're a caster, you want high intelligence scaling. And if you're kind of like a heavy armor, two-handed, going for a strength build, well, you want high strength, and if you want to be more quick, then maybe you go for a dex build. Any way you slice it, you're just looking for S tier or S ranking on your attribute scaling, which is the highest, and then it goes A, B, C, D, and E. And honestly, it's not a huge deal right now, but what's good about this, beyond even the fact that we might shift off of this, is if I just select Storm Stomp, before I put this on, I get to select an affinity, and I can go for standard or quality. if I go for quality, quality is the one that's going to shift us from a strength attribute scaling to a dex attribute scaling. And I could see that down at the bottom portion of the large tooltip window on the right where it says attribute scaling. You see how the strength is going in red, which means down, and then the dexterity is going from E to D, which is obviously up. But if I select standard instead, then nothing about this sword really changes except for the FP cost of my Ash of War. I will lose square off and gain Storm Stomp. So what the game is telling you right here is if I select standard affinity, then I'm going to just keep with what this was, so the scaling doesn't even matter. And I'm going to get this new ability, which actually costs less FP than square off. I don't really like square off myself, so I wasn't planning on using it a ton, so I think it's cool to experiment, so I'll select it. And I did. Now, let's say I didn't like that. Well, I can undo the enhancement right here, and when you're at the campfire, you can change between your Ashes of War and equip and unequip them. You don't use them up. However, you can only have one at a time. There are ways to duplicate them, but right now, we only have one copy of this, but I could take it off if I want. So I'm not losing anything. And at this point, all right, I have Storm Stomp equipped on my broadsword. So I'm going to leave and I'm going to stand up. However, you're going to notice that parry is my Ash of War. That is shown in the bottom left. And if I push L2, I don't do Storm Stomp, which is the Ash of War button on PlayStation. I do parry. Why is that? It's because my shield has the ability parry, and that overrides the ability on my sword. If I push left on the directional pad, and maybe I just select my seal instead, you can see now there's Storm Stomp, and it's available. And if I push L2, bam, I do the ability right there. You see my blue bar, my FP bar went down, and that ability can actually stun people. So that's very useful, but I can't do it with a shield. However, I can't do it with this shield, would be the more accurate way to say that, because it has an Ash of War. Now later, well, it doesn't have an Ash of War, it just has this ability parry. You can find shields, which we're going to try to do, that don't have parry, that don't override this, and let you use the Ash of War on your one-handed armament. You can also find an Ash of War later that basically has no power and will take away parry from the shield so that we can use something else. But right now, this is all we've got. So that's kind of like a lot to discuss with the way that Ashes of War work, given our limited options at the moment, but it's going to start our conversation. We'll have to, dive more into this as we go and get more choices. But it's worth mentioning that I made that selection, and if I, decide, well, what I want to do is I want to maybe, two-hand the sword, well, then I'll get the Ash of War, you bet. Or if I have a seal, then I can use the Ash of War, but not with my shield because this power overrides it. So let's go try to find some new equipment and level up a bit, get some stuff as we continue to power up before we go for Stormvale Castle. So I'm just going to hold triangle, push up. I'm going to get my buddy Torrent, and we're going to ride. Now, I kind of have designs currently. Oh, well, I don't really need the... If we defeated that red beetle right there, they can come in different colors, red, blue, white. They give you different rewards. That would restore our flask of Crimson Tears, but it's already full. I have designs on clearing this camp to just show you some of the gear that these soldiers can drop for us. Additionally, it's a nice place to earn some runes and actually do some leveling up. So I'm going to say hi to this guy, and I'm just going to block. Oh. Now, let's talk about that. Why did he stagger me right there? That's because his ability defeated the stamina bar that I had. So, when you're using a shield and blocking, if the enemy completely takes away your stamina, you will stagger. It's not about poise in that moment, it's about your ability to block and your stamina. You saw the second time, because I had some more stamina, he actually got staggered. So, who's coming at me? Oh, that's the hornblower. Alright, so we want to be careful with that one. There we go. So, I took out the horn guy pretty quickly. He did, unfortunately, it looks like he got to blow his horn. I thought I stopped him. You could see everybody coming. I sure did not. They're looking for me. They're not very good at finding me. You know, there's some negatives to being either a tarnished or undead or whatever state these guys are in. So we'll just let them kind of filter back. Scary. Now, I definitely want one of these guys' shields, if possible, so we could talk about that. Here they come. Let me show this guy. Oh, yes. Okay. So that is the joy of two enemies attacking you. It's a bad scene. I'm going to heal again. Okay. And there they go. So they gave us a smithing stone, which is terrific if we want to level anything up. I'm going to go ahead and just heal myself. A little bit. A little bit. I don't care at all about respawning the enemies by resting to refill my flask. And that's why this is a great little spot. I'm not going to stick here forever and fight, but I think I've already told you guys that when I first started playing, boy did I do that, because I just thought it was fun, it was good practice, and the rewards were decent enough. So your mileage can vary. Like, if this bores you, then just go explore. Even though that guy was alerted to our presence a bit, you can still... he got a smithing stone. Get the critical strike on him from attacking from behind if you get the timing right, as you saw we did. So it's wonderful. Now, oh, we got an herba. I could use my summon if I wanted to, but I don't have enough FP. So I'm actually going to drink my flask of cerulean tears. It's probably overkill, but I'm doing that just so I have enough for my summon if I need it. I want to save the summon specifically for the big boy, because he's a jerk. Hi. And you see, that attack that guy's doing with his spear, it's a massive attack. Like, he is rearing back. He wants to hurt us badly. It's his plan. But our shield just says no thank you. Now the big guy's there. We could fight him, but I'm going to wait for a moment because I want to clear out the rest of the guys. I don't want any, interlopers intruding on our dance. Hey, buddy. Okay, that was a bad situation. That is going to have to result in some healing. Alright, so now he's gone. Life is much easier. Just a dog is not a problem. Alright. Almost there. Almost where I want to be. By the way, I can't remember if I said this before, but every single ruin will have one of these basements or doors that you can go down and find a chest that might be hidden. Might be in a, you have to break some barrels or something to find it, but it will exist. This one's easy to find. So don't leave the ruin until you find the little, hidden area. So again, my strategy remains the same. Oh, okay. Big guy's here. Alright, we kind of got into a bad spot. I am blocking. I need some distance from my man here so I can do this. He might kill me. Okay, good. We blocked. Let's drink. Oh, bat guy. Alright. So the big guy didn't drop anything, which is unfortunate, but we did get a lot of runes. And let's just make sure. Let's see if there's anything that was left behind as a treasure for us. Did anybody drop anything? Boy, that looks like a no. Our dogs are unhappy. I'm unhappy. Oh, here's a guy. Boy, this guy is really late to the party. I guess he's by the cook fire, so he's like... And he was the dude. So that was the last guy. You could see we got our flasks recharged. Remember, I'm just holding L1, and as soon as they hit me, I'm pushing R2 to do the guard counter. And if they stagger at the knees, I wait for a moment, then push R1, get the critical strike. Game over. You don't really even need to on these guys, but there we go. So, let's go over here, and let's rest. We're going to respawn everybody, but that's okay. And let's level up for the first time. So, we're level 10. We haven't even touched this. We've been buying stuff, upgrading our weapon. What do we want to level up? When you are planning, you really want to focus on a few attributes that you're going to raise. Vigor is something that every character in the game will raise. You're never going to be sad putting points into Vigor because it just gives you hit points. Most people go up to about 60 and don't go beyond that for Vigor. So, for example, right now, if I put points into Vigor, you're seeing I'm getting 20 more hit points, right? Which is good. Mind, okay, is not really something that I'm super interested in with this character. It affects your FP. You can always, by the way, push the center button. And this is a pro tip. This is actually something I just learned the other day. I think I said earlier in the guide you can't pause it. Or I may have said that. I mean, that was always my belief because this game is pseudo online and everything. If you go into help and you're on this screen, and you go like explanation or something, or you're in the help screen, it does pause the game as an accessibility thing. So this would be the way where you need to leave and whatever. Now, if you go too long from the game, it will log you out because you're idle, but you can pause things by going to start and then pushing the help button like this. So anyway, if I view explanation, I could see more on the stats, but I don't really want mind. Here is what my idea is for our character. It's going to be vigor, it's going to be endurance, and it's going to be strength, with maybe some faith if you really get into incantations. But we don't need a ton. You also don't need a million endurance, but we want it for more stamina, more equip load, things like that. I am going to, just for the first one, give us some extra health and put points into vigor. This will not make us do more damage. This will make us take more damage. Okay? And we've bought a level up. You can see right there. We spent a good bit of our runes. And now the guys are back. You know what? Sorry, I lied. Let's spend more runes. I was just going to go fight, but I actually have enough to level again. So you could see in the upper left where it's going to tell us how many runes we have, how many runes are needed to level up. That number increases every time we level. So now we're level 11, as you see in the upper left. Put it in again, we go to level 12. And I start getting more hit points for leveling up. There are all kinds of charts, graphs, statistical breakdowns that you can find on wikis for exactly what you want to do with your build. But I'm going to tell you all, we don't really need to worry too much because we know that we're focusing on vigor. No point, below 60 is a waste there. And we're doing vigor, endurance, strength with a little faith maybe. And if you put points there, we're going to be all right. But later we can even respec. So don't worry that it's like, the original Diablo 2 and you don't really have much opportunity for respecking. Currently we don't. But you're never going to be sad when you're like, oh man, I really wish I didn't have 20 extra hit points. Vigor is good. So you see if we put another point in, we go down to 347 runes. It's going to take over 1,000 to level us up to 13, and we won't have enough to do it. But you notice on the right side of the screen, the defensive power, everything is going up there. Those things, like your physical resistance, your strike/pierce resistance, magic, fire, lightning, those are your resistances to incoming damage and the different damage types. Those kind of go up as your level itself goes up, generally like every other level. So even if I put a point into mind, for example, you're going to see that those all are going to raise. Vigor governs fire resistance for reasons, so that's why that raises there, but not for mind. But, even if I put points into endurance, all that stuff is raising. So whatever I put it into, it's going to raise. Now, if I put a little bit into strength, then you'll see that, hey, we do a little bit more damage. But I'm not, actually 100% worried about that. I'm actually going to put a point into endurance, because right now what I want with this character is to be able to block everything and have enough stamina to do that. Stamina is amazing for everything. Swinging, blocking, sprinting, and if we want to equip heavier armor. So you could, though, if you want to just do more DPS, go strength, you could do whatever you want. That's just what I want for survivability at this moment. Hi, buddy. Okay, that was not good for this guy. Now, I'm going to do one more sweep around this camp and just see if we can find some of their gear so we can discuss it. Because another element about leveling up is seeing what attributes you need for gear you might want to equip. So you can have an idea of what number you're looking for in the short term. But I mean, you see our green bar went down pretty far right there, but we did put extra points into it. Tremendous. Again, you can do whatever you want. You could fight them all on torrent. See how that goes for you. Now these guys are annoying, but you could target them. And they have to kind of swoop down to hit us, so that gives us the opportunity to swing at them. Oh, those golden runes. Excellent. Now I'm going to get off, and I'm actually going to just show you Storm Stomp on this guy here. So you could see it wasn't great, but it did stagger that guy as he lowered his shield. And that could be something that's just a nice little edge to have when we're fighting. And why not have an ability like that? So that's one of the things that we're building toward. I tell you what, these guys are being very protective of their equipment, and the drop rate can be quite low. But they always give you runes. Dog time. So that guy was made easy, of course, by our buddies. You don't even really need to do too much here. It can be kind of chaotic for the, you know, more straightforward moments of guard counter, but can't blow the trumpet that time. And we got his hat. Great. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Finally, we have a piece of gear to examine. By the way, let's get these butterflies. Now, sometimes you don't even need subtlety, you can just swing. Which is another reason why putting points into our stamina is nice, so that we can just keep on swinging. Oh, look at you. Were you hiding? Maybe you fell. That was the last one. We got a smithing stone. Alright, so we've absolutely dominated this little camp. You can see we're up to 1,700 runes again, just like that. So this is a fun way to just kind of get a few early levels, maybe get some gear, practice. But for the sake of not making this any more repetitive, I think we'll push on and explore. The shield that these guys drop, which I was trying to get, is actually pretty reasonable, so we might want to try to get that later. But if I, for example, I have my hood right here, if I wanted to wear this from the equipment screen, I can compare, and I can see that this Gondrick Soldier helmet is better at certain things, which are blue, worse at other things, which are red. And it boosts our poise. You could see our poise is known. The enemy poise is not known. It's 35 down there. And it goes up to 35. So this gives us more poise, makes us harder to interrupt and stagger when we're trying to do attacks, for example. It gives us physical slash and pierce resistance, as well as some robustness. But it reduces a bit of our magic, fire, lightning, and holy resistance and is heavier. That is okay, though, because that is why we're boosting our endurance to help raise our equip load. And as long as we're at a medium load, we're fine. If you ever see your character start to move really slowly when you try to roll, that is because you've gone into a heavy roll or a heavy load, which is never good. You never want to be there. It's bad for many reasons. So you want to keep yourself medium or light, and medium for us is going to be just perfect. All right, everybody. I hope you found this episode to be useful and fun. We got a fun new hat, and you could get all of their gear if you stay here long enough. And I want to say thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying this, and I will check you in the next one. Take care.